Hello and welcome to the Not Your Average Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host Tyler Hall, and I thank you for tuning in to the first edition of this weekly episodic series that will hopefully work as your guide as we lead our way to victory in this 2020 fantasy football season. Now I know what you are thinking. Thank the Lord that the despicable 2020 hasn't touched America's beloved NFL yet. While my fingers are crossed for a full season and I am knocking on all the wood I can find, I'd like to take a second to appreciate that fantasy football is right in front of us. As I am recording this, we are only a mere 3 days away until the first matchup of the season, which is the Houston Texans taking on the defending AFC champion, the Kansas City Chiefs, on this season's first edition of Thursday Night Football. I will get more into that highly anticipated matchup and many more throughout the episode. This episode is all about setting the tone right for your season, and the best way to do that is drafting well. Now, I currently am a member of 4 different fantasy leagues, with the team owners ranging from 8 to 10 to even 12 owners. Now, regardless of if you're in an 8 or 12 team league, if you haven't had the pleasure of drafting yet, considering a lot of leagues wait until the last remaining days to ensure the secure spots on the roster, and considering any injury updates, I am here to tell you that you are in luck, and I am not talking about Andrew. These words may start your season off on the right foot. Do not be discouraged if you are not gifted a top 3 draft pick this season. Yes, the Christian McCaffreys, Derrick Henrys, and Saquon Barkleys are easily seen as the top 3 running backs in the NFL, and rightfully so. But if you draft right and balance your lineup with great receivers and running backs, then you may see yourself securing the W against the owners of those 3 running backs. If you find yourself receiving a number 5 or number 6 draft pick, I'd suggest considering running back Austin Eckler of the Los Angeles Chargers. The 5'10", 200-pound, 25-year-old out of Western State, Colorado, has a lot to prove this season. Eckler just signed a 4-year contract extension worth nearly $25 million back in March of 2020. With former Charger Melvin Gordon finding his way to Denver as a new member of the Broncos, the pass-catching Eckler seems to be a solid number 1 draft pick as we head into the season. Eckler's rushing yards in 2019 only totaled to 557 yards off of only 123 attempts. But the more impressive stat is the 993 receiving yards off of a 93 reception season. With the loss of Phillip Rivers manning the quarterback position and faith lying in veteran Tyrod Taylor, one would think that Tyrod will toss the ball short to Eckler a lot this season. Now, if you are in a PPR league like myself, Eckler will prove himself to be a very helpful tool in securing those extra points. With the many trades and off-season acquisitions for teams after the 2019 season, there have been many depth chart promotions for some receivers. One in particular who I would consider picking early in the draft is Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams. Kupp looks to be taking over as the Rams' number 1 receiver after former Ram Brandon Cooks has found his way in Houston with the Texans. Kupp has always had a great connection with quarterback Jared Goff, and the past numbers prove it. In 2019, Kupp totaled 1,161 total yards in 94 receptions. The more impressive stat is that Kupp ranks 2nd at the end of the season in receiving touchdowns with 10, only 1 behind Detroit Lions receiver Kenny Golladay. My prediction is that Kupp will find the end zone even more times than 10, with the new role as the number 1 receiver in LA, and that's why I think he is a great choice early on in the draft. Finally, I'll touch on some sleeper picks, or what I like to call them, hidden gems of the draft. These are players who are not always big name players that are talked about on 24/7 on SportsCenter, but find themselves under the radar and cause for big fantasy points. My first sleeper pick right now is Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is only rostered in 83.2% of leagues this season so far. If you have not invested in Johnson stock, now is a better time to do so than ever. The Pittsburgh Steelers' second-year receiver proved himself to be a future force to be reckoned with amongst receivers in 2019. And that was without the Steelers' veteran starting quarterback, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Nearly reaching Rookie of the Year caliber stats last year, Johnson is definitely somebody who is going to make a big name for himself this season. My second sleeper pick is Josh Allen. Josh Allen will one day be a common household name when talking about the most talented gunslingers in the quarterback position. The Buffalo Bills' second-year stud threw over 3,000 yards last year with only throwing 9 interceptions. With the addition of Stephon Diggs to the Bills' receiving core this year, Allen looks to have a very impressive sophomore season. ESPN Fantasy Football only ranks Allen 142nd amongst all NFL players going into the draft. So when you are looking to drafting your starting quarterback this season, scroll down a little bit to find yourself someone you can trust in Josh Allen.
Hot takes, everybody! Hot takes! Get them while they're hot!
Yes, you are hearing that correctly. It is time for some hot takes. In this segment, I would like to throw out some opinions and predictions leading up to Week 1 that may edge your way to a victory and a start to an undefeated season. Hopefully. Hot take number 1 is do not start the Chiefs' defense. I expect a very high-scoring matchup between the Chiefs and the visiting Texans this weekend, so I would stray away from trusting your defense against the healthy and determined Deshaun Watson. My second hot take is by all means start Saquon Barkley this week. That should never be up for discussion, but with his matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers taking place on Monday night in one of the last games of the week, if you are setting yourself up for a very close game with your fantasy opponent, I would be cautious of what may be a quiet week for Saquon. The steel curtain defense of the Steelers looks very impressive leading up to this season, so rushing yards might be low for the Giants this week. And finally, my third hot take for the week is trust your rookie players this week. With talented guys like Cowboys receiver CeeDee Lamb and Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire making their professional debut, you gotta think that their skills are going to be tested. And with Week 1 being a testing run for your season, why not put that trust in them? Well, we have reached our end of this episode of Not Your Average Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this very insightful series premiere. I'd love to see your draft results and team updates sometime, so reach me through my Twitter at HALLBOYS123, that is Hallboys123, or through my Instagram at HALLBOYS4 or Hallboys4. Again, my name is Tyler Hall, I'm signing off, and good luck on your matchups this weekend, y'all.